Hey everybody, I want to talk about the solution then for when we have narcissists in our life who are inalienable, either through co-parenting, parenting, or parents, family. I had this question posed of me. So what's the solution then? And I started to write out I was actually just going to record this video. And then my asshole cat came in and interfered. So I have since regrouped and regathered. The solution, if you're seeking a solution, there's not one, not by the definition of what a solution is. Now don't let your heart fall out when you hear that, and don't try to call bullshit on it, because I got some explaining to do, as usual, in my usual 15-minute window. When you say, what is the solution, and you seek the solution, the concept of a solution really is not fully applicable, if at all. Personally, in my situation, I think it's not applicable at all. Because and the reason I say this is because to say you're seeking a solution implies finality. It implies a terminus. It implies an end of all things that they've brought into your life. And if they're inalienable, that's just not going to happen. This is an example I love to give. When you're solution seeking, a solution to a problem, problems and solutions go hand in hand like a key and a lock. You have a problem, the lock is locked. I need a solution. Here's a key. Hence the term, here's the key to solving your problem. Key, right? The notion is that if we have the right solution, then just like a key, we can put the key in the lock, unlock the lock, remove the lock, and open the door to all things happy, kittens and glitter, and possibly a unicorn. But the thing about life is, and not just with narcissism, but with lots of things life, we've forgotten this fact. Solutions such as a lock and key rarely exist in life. Maybe just for the simplest of tasks. Like, man, I've got a real problem with my bathroom being dirty. Well, you should clean your bathroom. Hey, there's the key to a clean bathroom. See what I mean? But a lot of interpersonal relationship type challenges and problems do not have a turnkey solution. They don't even have a combination or fingerprints or any kind of Rube Goldberg security system that you can overcome. It's more like sailing. It's more like how trees know to bend with the wind and not to break. This is why dead trees break and fall. Because when they're dead, they lose that flexibility, and the wind will either break them or knock them down. So you can think about your spirit and your internal livelihood. Okay? When you're living healthy spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that stuff, when you have life in you, you're flexible, you're bendable. But when you start to die on the inside, then just like that tree, it just takes some wind to break you and knock you down. And the more dead inside you are, the easier it is to do that. See, the thing with locks and keys, when you have a lock and you start looking for the key to the lock, it gets more complicated than that. You say, okay, I have a lock. That's my problem. Well, what kind of lock is it? Is it a door lock? Is it a padlock? Is it a combination lock? Sometimes locks aren't locks. Sometimes it's like the ignition of a car. It takes a key, but it's not a lock. It kind of is, but it's not really unlocking anything. It's just unlocking like the ability to crank the engine. So there's all sorts of locks, and whenever you're looking for keys, then you say, okay, well, I need a key to this lock. Well, I need a good key, right? You say, I need a good solution to this problem. I need a good key. Well, then what is the definition of a good key? Well, if you're trying to open your front door, a car key is not a good key. It's a good key for using in cars, but for this specific problem, it doesn't help. Now, if you have the key to your door, that's a pretty good key. If you have a bump key, that's even better because you can open any door, but that's a locksmithing topic and I'm not going into it. The type of key matters, because if you don't even come at it with the correct kind of key, then it's over before it even started. You won't even get the key in the lock, right? You can't put a car key in a door lock. You can't put a door key in a master lock. You can't use a combination on a tumbler lock, So what I'm saying is taking the solution approach and looking for solutions, because God knows I drove myself crazy for the longest time just looking for solutions. What is going to solve this problem? How am I going to fix this problem? How am I going to, how am I going to solve all this shit? It's a nightmare. And this is what I realized is my experience with all the toxic people in my life. Now, this is close. Pay real close attention to this. Toxic people have this problem solution mindset. There's a lock, there's a key. If I don't have the right key, discard the key, try something else. They're right, you're wrong. There's a problem, they can fix it. You're not the one for me, goodbye. They're very quick to drop and discard, because they really don't give a shit about any key except for the key they need at that specific point in time to do a specific task for them. That is a toxic mindset, and that's how it manifests in their relationships. But it also, I think, sort of seeps into our consciousness at some point, especially when we start trying to figure out what to do about this toxic person in our lives. We now have a problem, we now need a solution, and we need the key to fixing this problem. And it doesn't work like that. That's what kills you dead inside. The repeated failure after failure after failure to solve the problem, because it's not a problem to solve. So what is it? It's you. It's building up yourself. It's remembering who you are. When you're back to being who you are, you just won't have time or place any value in anything these toxic people have to say or do. When you get back to you being you, you'll be surprised at how much larger than your own life the old you now is. Because something inside you died over time. You became less flexible. You're a half-living tree in a storm, And from the tree's perspective, trying to battle out a storm and preventing itself from breaking, and this tree says, oh my God, this storm is a problem. I need a solution to the storm. And all the healthy trees are sitting there bending with the storm. They're able to react and respond. The trees that are dying on the inside have it much harder. And the tree doesn't have any available solution to making the storm go away, right? Except for time. But We're not literally talking about trees here, okay? We're talking about people, so just stay with me on that. The solution for the tree, if that tree is unable to resolve what has diseased it, what has gotten into it, infected it, and caused it to weaken and die slowly on the inside, if that tree is not able to recover and get back to being healthy and living on the inside, then it's only a matter of time before the storm is going to break that tree. Even the biggest and mightiest trees can be broken by wind if they're dead. You know? There's not a solution to the problem. It's just you being you and being a healthy you. That's what's important. When you are a healthy you, then the storm really doesn't matter. You can swing your branches and hang your leaves out in the wind and say, whee! I mean, trees can't really say that. And if they do, give me some of whatever it is you took, because that sounds fantastic. Trees, healthy living trees, don't have problems with storms. So then there's nothing to solve. The healthy trees don't need a solution because there is no problem. Does that make sense? The unhealthy trees have a problem, and that's nothing that anybody or anything can hand the tree. Like, no other tree can help these trees. The trees has to help itself, or enlist the help of a professional. Cough, cough. That's what trees need. That's what you need. The biggest symptom of being unhealthy on the inside is toxic people. That is a hard pill to swallow. That's a very hard pill to swallow. At some point in time, perhaps you were healthy, or perhaps you were always unhealthy with codependence, and it was just never a problem because you never caught a disease or a diseased person or a disease-causing person. You were still very much alive on the inside. You use that as giant vulnerability. You know? You have to be yourself. Build yourself. Focus on you. Put your oxygen mask on first before worrying about others, because you're no good to anybody if you're suffocating and if you're unconscious. Put your oxygen mask on. You work on you. Instead of viewing toxic people as the problem, because that's easy. That is very easy to resent toxic people and to blame toxic people for the problems that they cause. It's very easy for a dying tree to blame the storm for what's breaking it. But it's not really the storm that is the problem. Trees need that ability anyways. It's just now that the tree is in it and is half alive and is trying to stay alive, it's going to blame the storm. Don't be that tree. And God knows I thought I'd never ever say a sentence like that. Don't be that tree. But here we are. Thank you very much for listening. I want to hear from you. Please sound off in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video.